into it. Okay, so
Yeah.
Prudence Beecroft, thank you so much for joining us on Ad Bits. Let's get into it. So you've had quite the adventure, MD, EP founder, creative producer. If someone made a movie trailer of your career so far, what would be the tagline? It's quite a difficult one, actually. I don't know whether that's a good one to start.
It's an incredibly difficult question to answer. And I've got like two potentials for you. I couldn't quite decide.
Oh, wow. So prepared.
Yeah. Well, this will actually lead quite nicely in. So one that was just like my mantra, which is not necessarily a tagline, but my mantra in life is fail to prepare to fail. So that's it. That's not necessarily the tagline, but I thought that's like my ethos. Yeah. But the actual tagline, I was thinking, I've actually written this thing down.
Yes. I'm glad. I love this. I'm so pleased because as I was reading it, I was like, oh God, that's a bit of an annoying one.
Okay. Behind every effortless film lies an exquisite amount of effort.
Effortless film.
Yes,
it's so true. And it's very true. And it is true, isn't it? All these things that we see, I think it's interesting with what we all do. It seems so effortless. I've got very interested in behind the scenes stuff because you suddenly see how much stuff is going on. It's like when people go to set and they're just, they don't, even when I first started out, I was a bit surprised why we had to have certain things in place. And then you realize, because you've only got a certain amount of time, it's just our business in everything. You've got one day to get it right. And if you don't have the best person ever to get in to do the hair and makeup, all the smaller things on the shoot, then it's over. It's ruined, isn't it? But we do, and then these films, we do make them feel so effortless. I'm very impressed.
Yeah,
and you've turned what I was thinking was an annoying story into an annoying question. Sorry.
I think that's
great.
Yeah, I think that, I like you're saying, like quite often when clients come down to set, they're also shocked because they're obviously, when they're sent a budget and they understand like film is a really big investment for anyone. So when you're thinking about that, you're just like, how is this X amount of money? Like, how are they spending this amount of money? And then you come onto set, and I've had clients literally like filming the behind the scenes themselves on their phone and actually taking photographs of the catering truck and things like that, because they're like, oh my God, there's a dining bus. There's a whole bus of people just eating, waiting to be called out on set. Or, there's just, you're right. It's like a whole team of experts all standing by to do their specific thing. And it's all about the timing. So yeah, there's a hell of a lot behind the scenes that goes into it. And at the end, you might be like, oh, that looks easy. Looks simple enough. Just one person.
Yeah, I think that's the it's really interesting with behind the scenes, and it's interesting how social media has you've been able to share that so easily now, and people are much more slightly aware of it. It's like when you go to see a movie and you see how many credits are at the end, and you're sitting going, is this ever going to end? Because it just keeps going and going and going.
Yeah,
I love that. Yeah. Well done for opening on such a difficult one and making it so good. I was literally, I'd forgotten about that question. I was reading it. I was like, oh, I'm not sure. Anyway, so on to the next one. Odelay had an incredible run before things came to a close. How did that experience shape how you're approaching this new chapter at Not Just Any?
Yeah, I mean, I loved Odelay. I loved running a production company. I was so lucky to do that for a long time. And the thing that I loved the most was the people I had around me. And when I was closing Odelay, I was really kind of apprehensive about the next step and what's it going to be like going to a place where I've not had a huge imprint on every hiring decision. And I was like, will I be able to create the same company culture, or will I be able to join a company where I genuinely love going to work every day? And I feel really lucky that Not Just Any, I just feel like I found such a great team. I genuinely get along with them. I'm really inspired by everyone. Everyone works really hard. And I'm learning loads as well. So it was the standard for me, that from my perspective, was set quite high. And as soon as I started meeting with the team and our co-founder, who's based in San Francisco, Nate Robinson, started meeting him, I was like, this is a really nice, I was excited about the team and who they are and how they show up and their outlook. And I just thought, well, this is something I can see myself doing again, which I didn't think would be as quick as it was to join another team. But yeah, it's the attitude. It's an attitude and an outlook that I felt was irreplaceable, and actually it's not. And it's about just surrounding yourself with the right people that are just good human beings. So yeah.
I'm glad for you. It sounds like a perfect spot. And I think also the learning thing for me, as long as you're learning, then it's interesting. If you go to somewhere and it's the same, or if you don't, well, as soon as you stop learning, as I'm sure it's pretty obvious to say, it really changes stuff. For me anyway, I've noticed that so much, especially recently. I've really, really. Okay,
yeah.
so
Nothing's plateaued for me yet. I'm constantly just like, wow, because a lot of the stuff we do is super technologically advanced. Like, we're quite cutting edge with the approaches, and I'm like, oh, got no idea how to do that. And then it's like I'm sort of going through the journey with the client in many ways. So I'm like, yes, we will find a way of doing it, and this is the people that will do it. And I'm like, gosh, they're really good, aren't they? And the client's like, yeah, they're really quite good. So we're all having a good time as we go along that journey with them.
Good. Okay, so looking back at Odelay, what's the one project that really captured its spirit for you?
Is there was no like one project. I think for me, the process of going through B Corp accreditation was something that captured its spirit. Yes. Because you do so many jobs over such a sort of almost a decade. You do so many different types of jobs. You do sort of music videos that are a little bit more agile. You do stuff that's like for bigger brands like Dyson or Red Bull, or like, you kind of, or Samsung, or, you kind of like, there's so many different iterations of jobs that you do. But if you could to capture a spirit, it's almost like the whole company, and the whole company went through that process with the B Corp accreditation, which, behind the scenes took us 3 years. So that for me kind of embodied more of the kind of stamp of who we were, than one particular job, because one job can't really show what a company can do. I think the people and the outlook and the, something that sort of is indicative to the company culture is more pertinent to symbolizing that company.
Yeah, that's a good answer. I agree with that. That's really good. All right, great. So you've done everything from Converse Street art tours to Tim Burton's Frankenweenie, which I love. Which side of that spectrum do you secretly love more? Scrappy, creative chaos, or big, meticulously planned shoots? I mean, they're all meticulously planned, aren't they?
I was going to say, yeah. I mean, neither of those were scrappy. Like, I'd say the Converse was definitely like pretty well planned. That was over 5 countries, and that was a really fun project to do. And also both of those projects are quite a long time ago as well. But I would say it's important for anyone to not do 100% of either of them. Like, I love doing big projects with nicer budgets, and you've got like your access to people and locations and resources is like expanded. But you get something really special from short films. And every time I do a short film, I think, that's the last time I do a short film. I'm never going to do one of those again. And then suddenly I find myself like reading a script and then having a chat with the director. And then I'm like, I'm doing one now. Like, I'm doing one. We're already preparing it. We've got our funding together, and we're just on another one through not just any, like, a few months ago. So there's something you get about it, and it's what I went into the industry for, and it's that kind of teamwork. And there's something that's accepted about short films, is that it's not about doing it for the money, it's about doing it for the craft, and you're all in it as a team together. And it's no reflection on any individual's capabilities, because sometimes people might be like an award-winning DP or award-winning directors who decided they've had a bit of a burnout from doing lots of commercials, and they're like, I really want to kind of hone my craft a little bit more and do something a bit more like aligned with the next step of my career. And you just get so much from it. I just think it's humbling, and it's hard. It's hard in a different way. They both have different sets of, possibilities and also limitations. But I would say you've got to do both to be a well-rounded individual in production. And I would implore like soundies and grips and everyone just to be part of that ecosystem of supporting short films, and which are scrappy and agile, as well as saying yes to all the commercial stuff that means you can pay your mortgage and feed your children.
Which is also important, of course. Interesting. Yeah. Okay, good. So you've led both production companies and agency divisions. Where do you think the most exciting ideas are coming from right now? Agencies, brands, or production companies?
I'm going to be very non-committal and not be able to answer that with a strict answer of which one of those, because I mean, certainly not just any, and in lots of previous experience I've had, like a production company could plug in as much as you want them to. So if a client's got an in-house creative team that are quite often brilliant because they know the brand really well, like of course we can plug in and execute. Likewise with, you know, production companies who are coming up with ideas and doing it themselves completely, that can also be great if they have a great relationship and an understanding of the brand. And the traditional model, we know that's great. So we've seen that working effectively for years. So it's not as easy. I think it'd be too it'd be too simplified to give it a sort of a direct answer, but I've seen great work from everywhere recently. I think the biggest mistake is not being brave with your creative. And I think that when you've got an agency and a client and a production company who are all, there's so many layers with that. And if everyone's kind of trying to protect a kind of like just keeping their client versus being brave, that's where it's sort of death by a thousand cuts, I feel. And you don't really get the best creative out because
there's too much pleasing going on.
Yeah, I think so.
There's not enough confidence to go, look, this is great, trust us on this and let's go.
Trust us. Yeah, trust us. Like,
that's
we know
why
what we're doing. Us
in the first place. And you know, it's a chat. I think what you mentioned, I think there's a couple of things to add to that, which I keep hearing about repeatedly at the moment when I'm talking to people, is the empathy.
Yeah.
The lack of empathy we have for creative ideas coming by the time we get them, the process that's gone through for us to get them.
Oh yeah, no, I totally feel that. Like, I feel really sorry. Yeah, I feel really sorry for agencies. They might have spent 6 months working on a creative idea. Longer. Yeah, and they're sort of going back and forth, and like they're doing everything they can to like answer like for quite specific briefs, quite specific requirements, like, and then like the arrogance of it coming to us and saying we've got some thoughts, you know, like I think there's always a conversation when we receive something. We're like, hey, would you like any builds on this? Would you like us to, we can approach this 2 ways. We can just do this like exactly as you ordered it. We can deliver everything you need. We'll just be at your disposal as a resource. Or would you like us to create any iterations or options and help you maybe hit a different audience if we feel as though it might be more effective? You should kind of answer some sort of hit the TikTok generation, you know, there's certain things we can help with, but I get it. Like there should be empathy because everyone's trying to do a good job. Everyone's working really hard. So yeah, we go in with the best mindset and we just try and help them make it as good as we can make it within the limitations we're given.
It's funny, you know, as you were saying that, well, you're saying all the right things, of course. And at the same time, I was speaking to some creative team recently, and they were very specific, saying, you know, we send out our brief, and if we get sent back the brief as is, that's not what we're looking for. We're looking for a director to completely come up with their individual vision and then go with it from there. But when you're running a company and you understand the dynamics that are involved and the politics involved, it's very, very challenging to go out there on a limb.
Yeah.
Certain things because you just don't know.
Yeah, I've lost things both ways before. You've lost it because you haven't developed the creative, and I've lost it based on you develop the creative too much. So now I would just always ask the question, would you like us to?
Yeah.
Like how like, because I don't know the history and I haven't been involved in those client meetings for the last 6 months or 8 months or whatever it is. So if they're like, oh, you know what, we've gone on a bit of a journey on this one.
Yeah.
The client's really specific and we will struggle to deviate from this because of legal parameters, or, you know, like this has been through testing, or, you know, like as soon as we have that information, of course, we're not going to suddenly be like, we've thrown the whole idea out and we've rewritten it. Like, we'll work with them. So yeah, I think the empathy is really key. And also, no one likes to be told that their work is rubbish after they spent 6 months on it. So, you know, that's not a strategic approach, no matter what. Yeah.
I think it's good. All right. So production is shifting fast, leaner teams, AI, quicker turnarounds. What's exciting you and what's quietly driving you mad?
What's exciting me? I'm excited about the fact that maybe AI can help me get through my inbox, which is never ending and overspilling always. So if there's something out there, I know there is loads of things out there, but I haven't quite utilized them yet. So that's exciting. But a lot of the time I feel that I'm communicating and there's faster ways to do it. I love chatting with people, but I don't love spending hours and hours a day at a computer writing emails. I went into this industry to be creative and work with people and build teams and create good stuff. So what we end up doing is with a lot of this work is you end up just doing a desk job and you're like, no. So I'm excited about streamlining a lot of the stuff that is not human centric, and prioritizing human centric time. And stuff that's driving me mad is the fact that there are hundreds, if not thousands or hundreds of thousands of immensely talented people who've very highly crafted and trained and developed their craft for years are out of work at the moment. And that's not just an AI thing. That's a combination of strikes, Brexit, cost of living crisis, brands being a little bit wary about spending a lot of money, like processes being changed. And I just feel it's deeply saddening hearing from, friends and allies and people in the industry that there was like 60% unemployment in the TV and film industry in the last few years. And it's really sad because these people know what they're doing. So I don't know how that is going to be solved. And obviously everyone's retraining and doing things, but doing things differently. But it's a saddening thing to know, especially when I've worked on projects that have, like you brought up Tim Burton's Frankenweenie before, like that is all about craft. Like everyone's chiseling individual flowers that go in the background of a stop frame animation set, and stop frame is a world of craft. So it's a shame that the people are out of work, basically.
Yeah, I hope it changes.
Mm.
Tim Burton or Red Bull events, which one gave you more grey hairs? Well, you don't look like you've got any, of course, but if you were to have grey hairs.
So actually red hair doesn't go grey as soon. So that's the one benefit of being a ginger. I don't yet. One day. Both of them a very long time ago as well. Neither would have given me grey hairs because I was too young to even get stressed about stuff at that age. I feel I just would have wanted like more responsibility, but I've got such fond memories looking back at both of those.
Yeah, I'm glad.
Yeah,
sound like excellent. Yeah. I mean, the Tim Burton stuff is just one of the most. I mean, what an amazing person to work with, and
but that's when I was starting out. But I was a very small part of a big cog, small cog in a big machine at that stage, and it's really important to do those projects and learn what you kind of like, because some people really love being on those massive film sets and that process. But I just wanted a bit more responsibility. I struggled with being such a small. I had such a small area of influence, which is the case with everyone in that kind of.
When you're starting out as well, I think it is challenging when you the hierarchy, and I think hierarchy changed quite a lot in a sense of what it used to be like, but it was very, very, very specific before, to the point, and that's why I think there was a lot of bad work practices going on, just because there was just no consideration for a lot of people on the set. It was just it was interesting. I mean, I always had a wonderful time years ago on the big sets and just doing big jobs all the time. But yeah, it's I was fascinated at the beginning. I always remember, like you felt, you've only got a certain amount of influence, and the hierarchy. I just didn't really understand it when I was involved. When I first got in, I just didn't understand about hierarchy in any way. So you'd speak in a normal way or openly to producers and things like that, and there would be a shock on their face when you would say stuff. And it was interesting. I always remember.
Yeah. Yeah, no, I agree. I mean, slightly different with something like Stop Frame, because you end up, I was on that for 1.5 years, so it's not as quick as like, and you end up building really nice relationships. But I definitely prefer situations like now. Like obviously we've got a little structure, not just any, but we're a small team, and actually we're not super hierarchical. Like I'm open to ideas coming from anywhere at any time. So everyone's brimming with ideas. So yeah,
which can be good and a bad thing.
Shut up.
Yeah, it's just like, shut up. I get it. Shut up. I always remember when I was working at Rogue, there was I don't know if I should share too much about this, but it was really funny. There was this moment where we decided that there was a decision made that we would, when the script came in, there would be a group session around a director to help with ideas, and that was great for a bit, but I always remember specifically that died relatively quickly. Initially everyone went in with loads of ideas, and it's really happened, but the reality was, of course, for the poor director, was that maybe one thing was good out of it,
yeah,
and not actually that helpful because there was so much enthusiasm going on.
Yeah, and it becomes difficult to even like make your own decision. You're like, oh my god, what are my own thoughts? I've got 10 people telling ideas to me. Yeah, no, it's true.
Okay, so if you on to the next one. If you had unlimited budget and 0 client notes, what would you make tomorrow? Again, that's quite an unusual. That's a difficult one as well.
I don't remember that one. If you had to read it again one more time.
But if you had an unlimited budget and 0 client notes, what would you make tomorrow? I think it's basically, if you had full creative freedom, what would you do? Another short film? Would you make a feature if you could? Would you just keep going with the, it's anything basically.
Okay, well, I would definitely be doing some travel. I've got to say, it would be like definitely a script that answers with "We open on a Caribbean beach." I've been waiting for one of those to land in my inbox for such a long time. No, it would be something that, just a really beautiful shoot. Really, yes. I mean, I've had so many great shoots where I've shot in the south of France or I've shot in South Africa lots of times, and I've always had a good time on shoots. So yeah, something international. Maybe get like one of my favorite actors, like Gary Oldman or something. Gary Oldman doing a comedy spot on a beach. Go. If there's any creatives listening and they want to write that, I am so up for producing that.
No, I always remember that. I think one of the scripts that stood out for me, or stands out for me, was we open on a beach in Thailand, and an elephant walking past in shot. And it's like, as soon as I got that, I was like, this is it. This is the joy.
Did you do the job?
There's a long story. I'll tell you another time about it. But no, we didn't do the job. We did go to Thailand though. But the job got cut. It was the Thai tourist board. So we won the gig, but then it didn't go ahead for a very nothing to do with us. It was just one of those difficult things. But we did get to spend like at least a week or more, if I remember, just hanging out because they weren't sure whether we were going to go ahead. It was a political issue. Yeah, it was good. Sure. It was perfect. Okay, so, and then you've just stepped into this new chapter. What's next for you? What's genuinely exciting you right now? I think we've gone over quite a bit of it.
Yeah, exactly. I think that, we're expanding. So we've had a good year. So, which has been really refreshing and fun. In light of how tough the industry is at the moment, we've navigated it well, but we're doing it on a small team. So we're lucky enough to be expanding. And this week we've got a new producer joining the team. Shout out to Fran. And
is she joining?
Yeah,
she is coming.
Yeah. She's joining us. Yeah. Exactly.
She's great.
So she's great. She's really fun. She's very capable, and she's brilliant because she does post-production and live action producing, which is our crossover. That's our cross section. So it's perfect for us. So yeah, the expansion is really positive. And then just continuing to learn. For me, like, I'm constantly in awe, and I'm constantly excited about the new tech and methodologies that I'm learning about, with the team that are around me. Are just so finger on the pulse with that, and I love being brought up to speed with them. So yeah, I think we've done loads of projects recently that have really, I've just learned from as well. We did a deep screen out of home project for a billboard in Hong Kong for Macallan whiskey. That was great seeing that come to life. We've done a sort of global production for Audible, for Pride and Prejudice, which was using virtual production screens in 6 different countries. And then we just did an AI.
How was that?
Project.
How did it go with the virtual production?
Yeah, it was great. Yeah. I mean, some countries didn't have virtual production screen big enough, so we actually had to build it. So we learned a lot. You know, I'm constantly learning. I keep saying the word learn, but I think it's a great place to be. We're constantly kind of trying to find ways to get the best project happening, and to do that you have to learn, because it hasn't been done before. Hopefully the creative hasn't been done before, so that's what we blank on. And the
Audible stuff is also really, everything they do generally is excellent. That's why they're winning all the awards.
Yeah, it's really nice. And you know, obviously Amazon have got the resources available to be able to do good projects, which is really nice. And then we just did a project for Scottish Widows, which amongst many other tools, we used AI as well. So
what context did you use AI?
Well, it was a fully post job, but we used AI for generating imagery that if we had 3 months, we would have been able to potentially use with you'd get a designer or an illustrator or a painter. So it's 3 different styles. And we could have got that if we had 3 months. We had 10 days. So it allowed us to iterate very quickly. And we used it as one tool amongst like Flame and Comp and After Effects, but it allowed us the speed and agility, and it's only really relevant now because 6 months ago the technology wasn't even there to be able to do what we did. So it's a really good sort of case study actually as to how you can use AI effectively when you can't use the more traditional methodologies. And it was good. It's successful. Yeah. So
good. And it's a good experience.
Yeah. So I'm constantly, all about learning, trying things, trying new things is the thing for 2026. Let's go for that. Trying new things.
All right. Well, look, and then we've got, finally, we have, if you give one piece of advice to a younger producer starting out today, what would it be?
I would do what I did, which is definitely go out and meet people IRL as much as possible. And I know not everyone is in London, so they can't necessarily go meet production companies. Actually, production companies are really busy. So you emailing them. I used to email everyone and never get a response when I was starting out. But go to film festivals. A lot of them are free. Go to festivals that are, there's the UK Creative Festival, which is free to get into if you're a student. There's the Young British Arrows you can go to, and you get student passes for that. You can go. The Young British
Arrows is really, really solid. It's like it's one of my favorite ones. I think the venue is perfect for what we're doing, for what they're trying to achieve, and it's just got such a good vibe there.
Yeah, I think, and there's a lot of things out there that you can access and go to. So, but I just think being in person is great because you can follow up on email and get your meeting in after that point. But it's very rare that I'll meet someone at a film festival and not agree to have a meeting with them. I'm not going to, once you've met someone in person, it's an easier win. And also, if you're not London centric, there are loads of regional film festivals. Yeah. So I live in Margate, and I'm on the committee for the Margate Film Festival. So I'm curating that. But there's a team.
That's really cool. When is the Margate Film Festival?
It's in November. It's the last weekend of November.
So it's soon.
Yeah. We've pretty much locked the program. We've got a combination of short films and features. So it's not advertising, which is quite nice for me to be able to just keep one foot in that kind of narrative world. And also it's a great opportunity to watch lots of features that you wouldn't necessarily, they aren't necessarily going to be in View or Odeon. So not all of them are great. Like the ones that aren't great haven't got it in. Obviously the great ones are in the festival, but you are reminded how hard it is to make really good film when you curate a film festival. You're like, oh, I see, they're close, they've really tried hard there. This is not today, sadly, but
listen, one of my favorite things when I have time is to go to festivals. I think one of my favorite experiences in film world was going to Sundance, for example, and it's like a music festival but for films. It's very difficult. It's a really odd one to watch so many films in a day. It's very unusual to be able to do that and have the time to, you know, go to a place where you're specifically doing that, which is quite wonderful. I mean, for myself, anyway, I love watching it, but it's also very interesting. Like you said, you realize how tough things are. And, you know, people have got no budgets pretty much in some instances. And sometimes they make something wonderful, but it's still budget. You know, it's still on a certain level, but then other times they manage to get away with it with very little, and you make, you know, amazing pieces of work that are like art. But it's a great experience. I'm thrilled you're doing the Margate thing. That's a really cool thing to be doing.
Yeah, this is my second year being involved, but it's only been going for 6 years. It's all, and there was COVID within that, so it was all remote for a couple of years. So we're still starting out. And it's small. The venues are really small and sweet, and it's very much a community thing. But it's my kind of like gift to the community, if you like, because some people litter pick, some people do other things, the community put events on. So this is my contribution, which is being involved in it, and I love it, so I get a lot from it.
Is there anyone who's the star? Is there a star film of it? Is there someone?
So we've got Andrea Arnold coming down. Actually, she's doing an introduction, and she's showing Bird, her new film. But she's obviously the bigger name.
And what's Andrea Arnold done? People don't know who that is.
Oh God, let me just dig up her full. She did. I mean, Wuthering Heights is the bigger one. American Honey.
Amazing.
Fish Tank. Wuthering Heights. There's one called Cow, which actually I've not seen. 2021. But yeah, I think Fish Tank's probably. That's one of my favorite films. That was an incredible film. And American Honey, both of them. So it's very kind of naturalistic. Quite.
I think I spoke. I spoke to Alistair Payne James recently. He's the head of production now at Magna, and he was the producer on American Honey, I think.
Oh, wow! Yeah, that's a good one to be producer on. I mean, she's incredibly talented, so she's going to come down and do an introduction to the movie.
That's good.
So I mean, that's the bigger, and then we've also got some comedians coming down doing a Q&A as well, and I think it's his name.
I think what you've said though about for people to come and meet people, and it was interesting. You've already used the term IRL. Yeah, and I love the fact that it's amazing, isn't it, to us, to me anyway, that IRL is a thing. Like, I'm obsessed with the word IRL, the idea of it, because I can't believe it's become such a thing. You know, it was almost, you know, people sort of shied away from it before social media in a way. I think they wanted to not be, you know, everyone got very homebound, and now it's going to go the other way. I think people are going to be desperate for IRL interactions.
It's just where you really create a new level of bond, I feel like. And also it's for your eyes. Like, I just worry about everyone looking at blue screen all the time. I think it affects our mental well-being. So yeah, humans aren't necessarily supposed to look at screens all day. I know we have to a lot of the time, but
I know I don't have to, and I'm still on my phone looking at it all the time. It's unbelievable. And the worst of it, it's intelligent, so it reminds me how long I've been on the bloody thing for. And I find myself just getting absorbed into it, sucked in like everyone else. And it's just, you know, you've just got to physically, almost feel like I've physically got to wrench myself out of it.
Yeah. Sometimes I do relax by looking at a different screen. I'll go from my laptop and be like, I'll just have a little bit of sit on the sofa for 5 minutes, have a cup of tea, and just scroll on my phone. Just not really supposed to do. You're supposed to just stare at the sky. That's a life coach once told me that. Stare at the sky for 5 minutes.
I think that's a great idea. I think this meeting, I think what you said is key though for people trying to get in. If sending emails, you go nowhere. I spoke to someone recently. They were telling me that they'd managed to get into Biscuit or whatever, and it was a Biscuit or one of the other companies, and I think it was Biscuit or something. Anyway, they on their social media they had responded to someone on a thread on Twitter at the time. It's X now. They responded and they'd got a response, and through that, it's not in real life, but at the point of making, like, it's a direct. It's trying to be creative, but I think going to festivals. I think if you want to get into advertising in any way, film festivals are great, but I think also, like you said, the Young Arrows is probably the better one because all the heads are there. Most productions are there.
It's also knowing you're barking up the right tree, like as well. Like if you want to go into like narrative filmmaking, then London Film Festival or BFI, or there's various things that are like going to be more narratively driven. If you are out for advertising, it's UK Career Festival, YBAs. Like if it's music videos, go to the MVAs, or like, you know, just there's ways you can go, or like Promo News might have an event, or there's different places you can go for different styles of filmmaking that you want to do. And likewise with TV, that for me is almost like a completely different industry. Like you go to televisual maybe, but beyond that, you know, there's not many events we cross over with, weirdly.
No, it's very siloed stuff.
Yeah.
Well, listen, thanks so much for your time. I really, really appreciate it. And it's been great having you on and having a talk about it. And, you know, it's my new thing, doing this thing. So I really appreciate you coming on. And that's about it, really. So
well, thanks for having me.
My pleasure. My pleasure.